Hi, everybody.
Hello, I am Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're going to be talking about Sorcerer City. But before we do, we're going to get into our pounds and inches segment. And this is where Ryan and I talk about what we're trying to do to achieve better health in our lives, or sometimes just complain.
Yeah, December can be a really hard time of year when you're trying to watch what you're eating. There are just treats everywhere you go. There is cookies, there is brownies, there is fudge.
It's great, Sarah. Your fudge is great.
And there is popcorn tins. No matter where you turn, there are treats that are available to you. And for someone who has a food addiction like myself, that can be really challenging. So that's what I'm trying to do, is just try to be better with my portion control and move around a little bit extra this month to kind of counterbalance what the extra intake I'm having, and then really plan for January to be just a really month of turning things around and refocusing.
All right, but enough about that. Let's talk about Sorcerer City.
All right, so Sorcerer City, you take on the roles of these wizard architects who are kind of building the city. But when you have a magical city, every year you need to rebuild it. So every year you're going to rebuild your city, but rather than talk about it, let's show you what that looks like. So in Sorcerer City, there are actually kind of a lot of components. So I'll go over it little by little, so that way we don't make sure we don't miss anything. This is the main track that we use. Each player gets one of these. It tracks all your different resources that you're gathering throughout the rounds. And I'll go over what each one of them is. There is the purple, which is the raw magic. There's red, which is influence. Yellow is your money that you use. And the green is prestige. So at the end of each round, you're going to use all these different items. So the prestige, that's your victory points. You're going to convert that track into these prestige tokens, which are these really nice metal ones if you got the deluxe edition. The yellow, again, is your money. You're going to use that to buy more and more upgraded tiles to add to your city. The red is your influence. You're going to use that to compare it to other players to kind of see who has the most influence, and there's going to be some rewards that you'll get as a result of that influence at the end of each round. Now the purple, the raw magic, is my favorite resource of all, and that is because it is kind of a wild. You can choose which one of those other three resources it can become. So every player has a set of these cards, and simultaneously at the end of the round, you're going to select one of these cards, and you're all going to flip it over. You get to choose, the prestige, the money, or the influence for that raw magic to become, and then you convert all those points that you have into whatever that resource that you've chosen is. Now the track goes up to 30, and each one of these has its own kind of plus 30 marker. So basically, each track can only max out at 60. All the way up to 30. Flip the coin over, start back at 0, and then go up to wherever you are. So you can never have more than 60 in any of these categories per round. So now you know what the resources do, but how do you get them? That is all going to be about how you build your city. So you start with this very small, thin deck of kind of weaker tiles, and you're going to use those to build your city. Everyone is going to use, at the same time, we're going to flip this timer over, this really nice stand timer. You have 2 minutes to build your city. Once the timer starts, every player is going to take their deck of cards, or tiles, and they're going to start flipping them over one at a time and placing them in their city. Once the tile's been placed, you cannot move it, rotate it, do anything like that. But as you're playing it, you can place it wherever you want, you can rotate it however you want in order to fit your needs. So the start of the round might look like this. Alright, so now that we have our city built, we are going to score all the different shields. The shields themselves are what gets us our resources. So let's look at the 3 different kinds of shields. This style of shield right here is all about getting tiles close to each other, matching that shield. So for every red tile that's touching that shield, you're going to get 1 red point on your track. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this particular shield is going to get us 4 red points. This shield right here has to do with things being in a straight line. So for instance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 purple all in a straight line with that shield. So that particular shield is going to gain us 4 purple resources. This one over here, even though it's connected, does not get us a resource because it's not in that straight line with that shield. The third type of shield has to do with being close to other shields. So it doesn't really matter what color they are, it has to do with how close they are. So this one right here, it has to be touching at least 3 shields like all the other ones are, including itself. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this shield is going to give us 6 red points. Similarly, this green shield has a count itself plus 1, 2, 3, 4 others, so a total of 5 green points will be earned as a result of that green shield. It is not touching this red one over here, so it does not get the point. So once the timer has run out, or if you are done placing other tiles, or if you've chosen to stop placing tiles, you're going to stop and you're going to score all of your different things in your city here. And you're going to move up the token on that track that many spots. There may be some effects on some tiles later on in the game that allow you to turn your magic into other resources, or that allow you to get some extra bonuses. But for now, we're going to ignore that until we get to the buy phase. Once everyone has scored their tracks, you can look at one of those tracks, see where everybody's at, especially on that red influence track. That's going to matter for the next step here. Then, we're all going to simultaneously choose one of those 3 cards to turn our raw magic points into something else. After everyone has converted their raw magic into another resource, you do your final comparison of your influence trackers. Whoever has the most influence, whoever has the highest influence on the track, they are going to get both the victory points and the reward at the bottom of that card for that particular year. Whoever has second place gets to choose either the victory points or the effect on the card for that year. If you're playing with 4 or more players, also the third place player gets to have the opposite reward of whatever the second place player chose. So they can have leftovers, basically. So essentially, let's say the second place player chose a reward. That means the third place player, they don't get a choice, but they still do get the 6 points. Any player who did not get one of those rewards gets to have either $5 given to them or an extra buy in the market. So essentially, on your turn, when you're doing the purchasing, you only get 2 purchases, 2 buys. However, certain effects, such as being the last place in the influence track, will get you additional buys if you want them. The rewards are randomly shuffled out for the first 4 years. However, the points themselves get increasingly higher and higher, all the way till 25 points during the 5th year. However, on that year, there's no reward given. So basically, whoever has first place is going to get that 25 points. Everybody else gets nothing. There are a whole lot of different influence cards in the game. They're going to do things like help you with purchasing things. They might give you some free tiles. They might let you kill monsters or give monsters away. So there's a lot of different effects. It gives a lot of replayability with those influence cards. Here is the market that we'll be buying from. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 vendors. They each kind of have increasingly stronger and stronger tiles in each one. And there's also the rainbow vendor. Those are always the same thing in the whole stack there. All the prices are indicated in the top right of the tile. And everything out here is going to be slightly stronger than what you have in your deck currently. There are going to be more shields on tiles, as well as some effects. This one helps you during the build phase. When you build that tile, move a red tile around. This one says, if you have that in your district while you're going to the buy phase, all tiles are $2 cheaper to you, plus you get an extra buy. Once you get up to the really expensive tiles, there's some really neat effects, like 2 shields on 1 tile, or these rainbow tiles. You always have the cheaper $7 rainbow tiles. However, this one has a built-in rainbow shield. You get to choose what color that shield is as well. Rainbow tiles are nice because they count as any color and every color, so they can help with several of your shields all at one time. And there are a ton of neat effects, and you'll see more and more tiles as throughout the game goes on. As soon as a tile gets purchased, another one immediately comes out. That new tile that came out is also immediately available for purchase as well, provided you have enough money. In addition to all that buying, whoever has the least amount of green prestige points at the end of each round is going to get a free tile based off of whatever round it is. So after the first round, they're going to get the top tile off the vendor 1 stack during year 1. Now you take all the tiles that you just purchased and won and acquired, and you shuffle them into the tiles that you already have. But that's not the end of the story. There's also monsters that you're going to add into your city as well. There's 4 monsters that you added in at the end of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year. So basically, by the end of the 4th year, if you don't manage to get rid of any, you're going to have 4 monster tiles in your deck, causing you some chaos. They all have different effects. Like, for instance, the skeleton that has these ragged edges in the corner. Those are places that you cannot place anything around it. So that's going to really hamper your ability to build in a specific place. Other tiles might make you discard tiles, trash tiles. They might make you gain even more monsters. So now, here at the end of the year, you've used your purple magic to turn into some other resource. You've used your red influence to gain some rewards. You've used your yellow money in order to buy some advanced tiles. Now you're going to turn your green prestige into those victory point tokens. The last thing to do is to shuffle up all the tiles you've gained, as well as all those monsters. Prepare your stack for the next round. You restart your timer to 2 minutes, and you build your city again. The game takes place over 5 years, and at the end of the 5th year, whoever has most of those victory point tokens is going to win the game.
So I really enjoy tile laying games and I enjoy deck building games, and this game did it. It merged those together and it blended it perfectly. The designer did it, guys. Like, it just works really well, and I like how it played out. I liked the rounds. I like that you're doing it again and again, just how you kind of would in a deck builder, and gosh, it was smooth.
I like the real-time element of this game. One of the biggest complaints people have about deck builders sometimes is that, sometimes those turns can take forever. But because you're all doing it simultaneously, and you're doing it under the gun of the timer, you don't have a lot of time to make those choices. You play a tile, you flip another one, you react to it, and you flip and you play it, and you do it again. You're not comboing things into, these 10-minute long turns. Because you don't have 10 minutes, you got 2 minutes.
I also really like the monsters. I think that's what brings this game up to here by adding those monster tiles. They're just really fun. I like how they interact with my board. I like how different they are. There's a great variety of how you can have the monsters interact with your city that you're building or your district that you're working on, and it was fun. I really liked the challenge of that and knowing that that's coming up, and then when you see the sword symbols and you're like, oh gosh, it's my monster. It was fun, guys.
I like that there was the raw magic, that random resource that you could use apply to any different one of the other 3 resources. I think that was cool. It gave you kind of a way to round out a category that you maybe were lacking in, or really just takes a category that you're doing well in to the next level. I think that was really cool. Also, I like that there is multiple paths to you can use. You can go for the yellow, you can go for the red, you can go for purple, you can go for any combination of them. They're all viable paths to victory.
I have to mention, since we play a lot of 2-player games, that the 2-player version of this game was great. When we were first going through the rulebooks and we heard that there was going to be a dummy player, we're just like, really? Come on. And then we played it out and it made so much sense. Mm-hmm. And it actually made the decision of how you were going to convert that raw magic. It mattered what you're going to do because you had this other variable that you had to keep into account. And so I thought that it played smoothly.
Yeah. Also, the higher player counts, if you're playing at 5 or 6 players, a lot of times when you go to the, max out the player count, okay, it's going to slow down, it's going to bog down. No, because of that timer, it really clips along. It's still the same 2 minutes no matter what. Yeah, you have to take the turns at the end of that to buy your tiles and do all that kind of cleanup work, but still, it's adding a couple players adds a couple of minutes. It's not like it really drastically changes the length of the game.
I do want to mention that I think this game favors people who can count cards, or I guess in this game, count tiles. Those who know what they've bought and what's in their deck and what's coming up, they're just going to be able to plan better than people like me who buy a tile and they completely forgot about what I bought, and that's just how I play all games. With that being said, I still really enjoyed it. So that didn't make me not enjoy the game, not being able to, just made it more exciting for me is what it did, since I didn't know it was happening. So I had more fun. Yeah. That's
one way of looking at it. Mm-hmm. Also, there was one of the monsters has on the card, it has something about some, what do they call them, cancellation tokens?
Yeah.
What are cancellation tokens? It doesn't reference them anywhere in the components list. It doesn't, when you go to the kind of the more detailed list of what that particular monster does in the rulebook, it doesn't mention cancellation tokens. So we just found some random tokens to cover up the things that they needed us to cover up with these cancellation tokens. But
I really like tile laying games. I like building this thing out in front of me, whether it's really pretty like lanterns or whether it's really weird like Castles of Mad King Ludwig. I just really like that. And those are I don't want to say kind of relaxing, but not really relaxing, soothing, what have you. And this game is not that. It's like this creating world building with fun stress. And I really enjoyed that. I really liked this new take on tile laying. It was good.
Yeah, we do not kickstart a lot of games. We are way too impatient for that.
That's true.
So this is one that we took a gamble on because it just had a lot of cool ingredients that we just love in games, and I'm so glad we did. This came together in a really great package. Everything just looks fantastic, and it plays really well. This is one that I'm very happy with, and that's going to be a staple on our shelf for a long time.
All right. Well, if you like wizarding,
Ooh, good segue.
you want to make sure to subscribe to our channel because we're going to be having a giveaway coming out towards the end of the month, beginning of the month, somewhere in between there. So you want to subscribe to our channel, Ryan and Bethany, Board Game Reviews under YouTube or Facebook. And then if you want to see the games that we're currently playing, follow us on Instagram under Ryan and Bethany. If you want to chat with us, reach out to us on Twitter under Ryan and Bethany 1. And then lastly, if you want to see a behind the scenes of what Ryan and I are trying to do to achieve better health in our life, follow our blog on Board Game Geek under Pounds and Inches.
All right, well, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.